Elm Logistics. For all your logistic needs, call 631-299-3595. That's 631-299-3595. Elm Global Logistics. Pride, performance, and partnerships.
In the 40s, but anyway.
Robin, yeah. was it hard for the girls to follow Hulk Hogan? You mentioned earlier that you guys would come on after Hulk Hogan. Now, during that time period, Hulk Hogan is Babe Ruth.
Yeah.
I mean, I would assume that the crowd is completely emotionally trained. Would you get frustrated? Was it easy working a match after Hulkamania ran wild across the arena?
Yeah. Well, we got certain oohs and ahs when we would just, walk into the ring, because then everybody's like, oh, look, it's women, it's girls. Oh my God. Right. And then, the whistle, and I don't know if it was just maybe because it took a different turn. Maybe it's because they weren't expecting a whole lot, but
okay.
But we would get in there, we'd get started, and we would get them involved. And back in the day, there were a lot of the guys that we traveled with and worked on the same shows that would come tell us that, oh my God, those are some of the best women's matches I've ever seen. And I was like, well, that's almost a compliment. How about that's the best?
That's a great match.
Those are some of the best matches.
Yeah,
period.
yeah.
Right, right.
But we would get the crowd going, and that's the whole thing you want to do, is get the crowd popping, and we certainly would. And we at one point kind of thought, because we were getting such great feedback and putting in the time, putting in the effort, everything, that there's at one point that there was going to be some big angle with us, and it just never materialized. It just, kind of went away.
I think, unfortunately, at that time, they were trying to figure out if the women divisions worked, and obviously someone finally got it, that it's such an important entity. In fact, some of the greatest matches in pro wrestling history started off with a women's match that got the whole thing lit up. I did want to ask you, we all know wrestling fans could be crazy. Again, did you ever have a stalker? Did anyone, did you ever have a crazy fan that followed you around everywhere that you were finally like, get me the hell out of here?
Well, they didn't really have a lot of access to you. So I was never really scared of anyone, but I had, have people come up to you and, just throw their arms around you. It's like, okay, we're doing this, and love you too.
Jimmy, was that you, Jimmy, back in the day?
No, but at the beginning of this show,
I was really familiar.
At the beginning of this show, I was really thinking it was you, Mike. You were getting me nervous, you pervert.
Honestly, it probably was, to be honest. I was that nerd, oh, Robin.
Yeah. There would be some fellows would come up and want me to sign their chests, and
Ew.
Okay.
Like, wait a minute, like big flappy ones? Here, sign these. Really?
No. Thank goodness. Yeah. No.
Okay.
Most of the time it was these young dudes that like, here. Okay.
All right, Rob.
How did you get the name Rockin Robin in the first place? Was that presented to you? Were you like, okay, I'm Rockin Robin? I mean, how does that come about?
Yeah, it should have really been thought through a little bit better.
Wait a minute.
Well, they could have called her Sky Blue.
I mean, something.
Yeah.
But it was only because I had to be announced as something, and so I think when I started, and some of my first matches were in Dallas, Fort Worth. There was a place called Billy Bob's. It was this huge bar, really. I mean, it was this kind of a huge thing going on, and they did. What was the name of the? Wasn't five? Maybe was it 5-Star Wrestling? No, I can't remember now. But they I had some of my first couple of matches, professional matches there, and against Susan Green, which was just absolutely fabulous. I mean, if you ever want to work with a pro, that she's it. But anyway, I remember being back. I was dressed, ready to go, and they're like, "Oh, by the way, who do we say you are? What do you want to go by?" And I'm like, just in a panic, I guess, Rockin Robin. Because at the time too, it was that, like, again, that whole rock and roll wrestling, and
Right.
and
Right.
so it just kind of stuck from there.
Well, what's in the name? Everything. Could you imagine if you had gone Metal Mary? That wouldn't have worked.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, of course, I mean, after my run and after I got out of wrestling, I'm like, oh man, because I was pretty tame. I mean, I was pretty, which was so unlike me, and even people that I grew up with, that are friends of mine now. They're like, man, we expected you to come out in these like Liberace gowns, and or things 5 foot high on my head and wild sunglasses, just crazy.
Yeah.
Because I was just kind of
So
that
let me
way.
ask you this. You've had many years now to think about the name that you spit out there, and it obviously worked. Look, we're talking to you, okay?
Yeah.
You've made it, okay?
Yeah.
But now that you've had all this time to think about it, did you come up with a better name that you would have liked to have called yourself? And if so, what is it?
You got me. I don't know. No,
Yeah.
I did. But I would love to be able to say something. No, I never really thought about anything else. But obviously, yeah, there would have been so many others that I could have done more with, certainly, and had more fun with. I don't know, the Beast. Who knows?
The Beast.
Yeah.
The Beast.
Listen, Jimmy, I love that name, and that is
Right.
Listen,